When families come in the room, there's always something that happens that is beyond the therapist's control. Somebody gets really upset. Somebody may even storm out of the room. There are times where things like that are going to happen. And I think one of the things that may set me apart from other therapists is I do not get intimidated by those situations. Those situations for me are problem solving. What are we going to do here? How are we going to handle this situation? Hi, my name's Kimberly Wick. I'm a marriage and family therapist. I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to tell you a little bit about the techniques I use in my family therapy sessions and the way I work. I think the biggest myth about family therapy is that families that are in therapy are quote unquote sick. I actually happen to think that families that are in therapy are the healthy ones, because there's a saying, we're as sick as our secrets, and I feel like families that are okay with revealing things and really getting to the heart of their matter and wanting to get better, those are the families that are going to get to the A version of their life. And that is just so incredible for those families who are suffering to not have to suffer anymore. I think the biggest problem for families across the board are the communication techniques and skills that they lack in the family structure. When I think about why my clients like me, I would have to say probably because I'm one of them. I am just like any other person out there trying to have a better life for myself, constantly trying to learn how to communicate better. And I provide a really safe environment for my clients, and I'm really personable. So I think because I'm coming from my own heart, people feel that and they learn that they can trust me. They don't really even learn it, they just know it. My job in the room definitely becomes detective-like. Of course, as a therapist, I want to acknowledge everybody's feelings. I want to make sure everybody has their chance to talk, and that, symptom relief is a big goal of mine in a session. If people are coming in angry, I'd like to help them with their symptoms while they're in the session. But I still have this umbrella sense that my job is still a detective, because while I'm trying to handle all these other things in the room, I also know that I'm trying to put the puzzle together and to get clues that will help me get to the crux of the problem. I've been told I'm really personable, and I think it's whenever you have a true connection in the room with people, then the results start to show up pretty quickly, and they're getting to the heart of their matter, which is everything in terms of the work that we do as humans. One of the techniques I love to use in my family therapy sessions is called a family contract. This is great for a couple of reasons. One, it involves the family in their own treatment plan. And it empowers family members, because if they're involved in having a say-so in what are the boundaries within our family framework, then they're much more likely to adhere to those boundaries. And also, I'd just like to say that if they don't adhere to those boundaries, it's not like somebody's had a huge fail. It's just great stuff for us to then bring up in session, because something activated that lack of boundary session. And so what happened there? And how can we better deal with those feelings that come up in the next session? Happiness isn't the presence of pleasure, it's the absence of suffering. And I think that happy families have a good rhythm. It's just about knowing how to communicate so well so that you don't have to suffer in your stuff. And that's the biggest magic, I think, of family therapy. Another technique that I love to use is a heart object that signifies when it's being held by a family member, they're going to speak from their heart. And speaking the truth is oftentimes extremely scary, especially in a therapy session when you have other family members there. This heart object is held by the family member that has the floor. And while that's being done, the other members really have to make sure that they're listening well, because that heart is then going to be handed to somebody else. And that somebody else has to repeat back what he or she heard being said. During this process, inevitably, the person who is repeating back what was heard is pointing the finger or saying you this or you that. That's a great opportunity for me to come in and say, could you please repeat that using I statements? It really helps me help them start to practice to hone in on their stuff versus externalizing somebody else's stuff. My name is Kimberly Wick. I can't thank you enough for giving me the opportunity to show you a little bit about who I am as a therapist, and hopefully you got a little bit of an idea of my personality. Thanks a lot.